Okay, question 5b. The table shows the carbon footprint during the manufacture and use of 3 cars. Evaluate the carbon footprint of the cars. Use information from the table above. And it's worth, put down there, 6 marks. So 6 bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The lovely thing here is I know because it's an evaluate question. Evaluate means the last 2 bullet points are going to be, one will be a conclusion, and the next one will be a justification for that conclusion. Justification. Okay, and if I look here, using information, quite often evaluate questions are actually much more straightforward than they seem to begin with, but often more straightforward than other questions. They're kind of like a comparison plus. So it's like a compare plus. The plus is the conclusion. So I need 4 things to compare before the conclusion, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to compare each of these in turn before making a conclusion. So what does it tell me? Well, the mass of CO2 produced during manufacture, because I'm comparing the carbon footprints. So which one produces the most CO2? Well, car C. So I'm going to start off with that. So car C produces the most CO2. I'm going to make sure I write that properly so I don't do remember CO squared, it's not that. CO2, and it's not that. Okay, 2's subscript, so we little, produces the most CO2 during manufacture. I might say there car A is the least. Car A the least. What next? I've got mass of CO2 produced when driving in per kilogram. Okay, so which one produces the least? So car C produces the least. Car C produces the least CO2 when driving. When driving per kilometre, so it's not just because it all depends on how far they go, per kilometre. Which one does the most? So I've just randomly switched the order, don't know why that was. Car C was the least here, and car A the most. Car A the most. Yeah, I don't like the fact I've done that. I've switched from sort of the most negative first to the most positive first, but sometimes that happens. Okay, so next, comparing this side now. Let's go back to the worst first. So which one generates the most? Car C. Car C. Car C what produces the most CO2 from manufacture and 40,000 kilometers driving. Which one produces the least? Car A. Car A the least. The last one over here, which one's the most? This one's car B is the most, car A is the least. So car B produces the most CO2 from manufacture. That's interesting. So they're just driving it further from manufacture and 100,000 kilometers driving. Car A the least. Okay, so what things do we need to say about that? So now we've got car. Okay, so it looks like. Is there anything else I can say about this? So car C produces the most CO2, car A the least. Car C produces. So the conclusions here we're going to end up with. So car A looks like the best. However, if you drove it for longer, it would be worse, wouldn't it? So car A has the best. Sorry, the best is a bad word, isn't it? Lowest carbon footprint. But would eventually be most if you drove it for over 100,000 kilometers. Okay, so it all depends on how far you drove it for. Okay, so justification there, lowest. So because it's got the highest per kilogram, eventually it's going to be the most. So which one eventually will be best? Well, eventually car C is going to come out the best. The further you drive, car C will get better and better. So car C will eventually have lowest carbon footprint if it could drive far enough. And this is one of the problems they have, is that cars don't last that long. So actually there is a trade-off between, you can make cars incredibly efficient to run per kilometre, but they might cost a huge amount of money to build. Okay, I don't think I'm not absolutely delighted with that answer actually, my answer. I'm not sure how good it is. I think it would be enough to get, it would certainly get 5 or the 6 marks. I think it would get the 6 marks. But in terms of linkage here, so I need to make sure I've got some judgments linked and logically supported. I'm not sure if the content here, if I put any examples in there. Produce the most CO2, car A the least. So car C is going to be better over sorry, this one here. This is the key one. But the least CO2 per kilometre, car A the most. So this is the one that tells us that eventually car C will be the most efficient. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Check out the mark scheme attached to the link at the description in this video. And when you're looking at it, look at the examples of linked statements that they might include. I think, to be honest, I'm just sort of defending my own answer here, but there are some logically linked reasons. I think there are reasons. That's a more complex judgment. This is certainly a band 3. So it's, whether it's I'd give it a 5 or a 6. I think it'd probably get a 6. But it would be interesting to see what you think.